Welcome to MTG Friends. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Zach.
And this is day 4 of spoilers for Commander Legends 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's start in with Jeweled Lotus. Holy moly, it's a 0-drop artifact. Sack Jeweled Lotus, add 3 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast your commander. Zach, what is happening here?
Well, we basically just got ourselves a format exclusive Black Lotus here.
Holy moly.
Crazy. This card is obviously immensely powerful. Granted, it is more powerful the fewer colors your commander takes to cast, because you're only making 3 mana of a one specific color. But, I mean, it's a Black Lotus.
Yeah, and you will absolutely use this regardless of whether it's in your opening hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it at the very least is, a way to pay for commander tax, but this really helps out one color strategies. This helps out 2 color strategies when your commander costs 4 or less, because you can play a land of 1 color.
Yep.
Lotus, crack it. There's 4 mana, bam, commander. This also helps out some 5 color strategies with Nagila, with Golos, and with the new Sisay, newer Sisay. I think this card's absolutely fantastic. I think there is one specific deck that I think is really going to like it is going to be Teshar, because he can just kind of infinitely keep grabbing it out of his graveyard as a way to recast himself if people target it. Great card.
Yeah. Serious consideration in my
busted.
Yeah, serious consideration in a bunch of the commander decks I'm thinking of, especially my Keurig deck. Oh.
Yeah. Crick is going to be absolutely wild with this, because you can turn one a Crick.
Which is bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas. All right, next up is a well-known, vastly needed reprint, Scroll Rack for 2.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, man. Holy moly. This thing has been creeping up to how much lately?
At last glance, it was at 85.60, just for an old school Legends copy of this. So, getting a reprint of this is not just needed, but necessary.
Yeah, and for anybody who's not super familiar with Scroll Rack, why don't you explain why this is leveraged so much, why this is so expensive?
I mean, granted, it's 2 mana for an artifact. It's colorless. It has no restrictions whatsoever on what decks it can go into. And all you have to do is pay 1 and tap it, take any junk cards in your hand, exile them, grab a whole bunch of new cards, and then put those old ones on top of your library. And if you have a way to shuffle your library, you can just get rid of those trash cards immediately.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Very cool.
Absolutely fantastic card. I've been wanting a copy of this for my Vivictus Asmati the Dire deck for a while. And didn't really want to spend that much money on a jank deck like that.
And now you probably don't need to.
Now I probably don't need to.
All right, another reprint we thought we would mention is Staff of Domination for 3. It has also been needing a reprint. It's
over $50 right now.
Yeah, so that'll be coming down. For 1, you untap Staff of Domination. For 2, you tap it, you gain 1 life. For 3, you tap it, untap target creature. And for 4, you tap target creature. And for 5, draw a card. It's got so much stuff it does.
Absolutely amazing card. Zerda, the Dawnseeker, is going to love that this is being reprinted. And this is being reprinted at the rare rarity, which means the supply of this is going to go up absolutely massively, which is exactly what this card needs.
Absolutely.
Amazing card.
Yep.
So happy to see this become more accessible.
So now into some of the spoilers. Jeska's Will for 3 in red. Choose 1. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both. So this is the red version. We've seen the black, we've seen the blue. I can't remember.
I don't think we've seen the blue, but we've seen the green.
That's right. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand, and exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn.
Yeah. This one's sorcery speed, unlike the other 2, but there's not really any reason you'd ever need this at instant speed, so super good. Only costs 3 mana, which makes that mana ramp piece of it really, really good. And then the impulsive draw, exiling top 3, that's really, really great selection. So I'm delighted to see this card. I think it's great, and that art is gorgeous.
That is something. And, if this is in your opening hand, and on turn 2 or turn 3, you drop this, your opponent has 7 cards, you suddenly have 7 red mana. Hey! It's party time.
Fun fact, this art is actually by the artist of my favorite basic land ever as well, I believe.
Which is?
This is Izzy, and if I'm correct, this is the artist of Blue Sun Zenith.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Love Izzy's work. They make really, really beautiful art.
Very cool. All right, Jeska's Thrice Reborn. It's a 3-drop and a very, very interesting legendary planeswalker. It's Jeska Thrice Reborn enters the battlefield with a loyalty counter, that's just 1, on it for each time you've cast a commander from the command zone this game. So the first time, 1. Second time, 2, 3, etc., etc., etc. It's got a...
And keep in mind, it doesn't care if it's Jeska that's being cast. It's any commanders that you cast.
Which is super cool, especially if it's partner, which is at the bottom of this card. So
it is a partner. Interestingly,
for 0, you choose target creature until your next turn. If that creature would deal damage to one of your opponents, it deals triple that damage to the player instead. That is fabulous.
Insane.
That is something.
Immensely powerful.
And then -X, Jeska Thrice Reborn deals X damage to each of up to 3 targets. Wow. And it is a partner, and it can be your commander. Wow. Right, next up is Wheel of Misfortune. It is interesting. It is a 3-drop sorcery. Each player secretly chooses a number greater than 0. Okay, I'm with it so far. Then reveals those numbers. So I choose 2, you choose 4. Let's go with that example. Wheel of Misfortune deals damage equal to the greatest chosen number to each player, so that would be 4, that chose it. Then each player who didn't choose the smallest number, so the smallest, which would be me, right? Chooses the smallest number, discards their hand, then draws 7 cards. Oh, so if it's 2-player, you just got all sorts of cool stuff.
So it's a little complicated, but essentially, whoever chooses the biggest, doesn't choose the smallest number, is going to discard their hand and draw 7.
Okay.
And whoever chose the biggest number is going to take damage.
And everybody
equal to whatever that number is.
And everybody in between, nerdy.
Everybody in between just still gets to draw 7.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Each player who didn't choose the smallest discards their hand and draw 7.
So this works out for 3 of the 4.
Yeah. But there's a real funny way to break this card.
All right, and how is that?
There are certain cards that let you redirect damage dealt to you. Because note that this specifically says deals damage. So Deflecting Palm.
Yeah.
Pariah enchanted to a stuffy doll.
Yeah, there's a few combos.
It's ridiculous. I love that this isn't life loss, but this is straight up deals damage, because there are ways to just absolutely abuse this. You know, you cast it, everybody's like, oh, I choose 8, I choose 9. You're like, I choose 10,000.
What an interesting different iteration of Wheel of Fate. That's just really interesting.
Yeah. Another thing that's kind of funny is if all players choose the same number, nobody discards their hand and draws 7, but all of those players just take damage.
Yeah, that's some serious jank. So like, Wheel of Fortune's the big one, right? It's Wheel of Fortune, then Wheel of Fate.
Wheel of Fortune is what this is referencing with that name.
Wheel of Fortune's the one with suspend.
No.
Wheel of Fate.
Wheel of Fortune is the OG. It's just each player discards their hand and draws 7.
So there you go. So that's what this is based off of.
Yep.
All right, Sweetgum Recluse. Ooh, this is going to end up in my spider deck. Oh, I like this. It's a 6-drop, which is super spendy. It's an 0/3 creature spider with flash, with cascade, with reach. Oh my goodness, it's got cascade, which is why it costs 6. When Sweetgum Recluse enters the battlefield, put 3 1/1 counters on each of any number of target creatures that enters the battlefield this turn, which could be itself.
Yeah.
Or wherever else. So yeah, this is definitely for some counter shenanigans.
Yeah, this card's hilarious. If you have ways to make tokens or play creatures, plus you're auto getting whatever you cascaded into.
Yes.
I mean, this could be at minimum. You know, it comes in as a 3/6.
Yeah, this thing.
It's flash and it's reach, and you're still getting that cascade trigger. So I think this is actually a ton of really great value on a spider here.
Yeah.
With reasonable stats, especially being a cascader as well.
Yeah,
I really like this
there's
card.
actually been about 3 really good spiders in the last about 3 or 4 sets, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy about that. All right, moving on. Colfenor, the Last You. It's a 3 white black, green. Oh, those are the Doran colors, by the way.
That's Doran's music.
That's Doran's
music.
Hark, I hear Doran saying, yay, another tree folk. This thing is awesome, and it is going in the Doran build that, you can check that out in the deck text we have. Vigilance Reach, whenever Colfenor, the last you, or another creature you control dies, return up to one other target creature card with lesser toughness from your graveyard to your hand, and it's a 3/7. Oh, I'm shaking in my boots. I'm so excited for this card.
Oh yeah, I think this is super cool. I love the like kind of death aristocracy way you could play this.
Yeah.
And I like that it goes to your hand rather than to the battlefield. It makes it feel a little more balanced, a little more reasonable. But he's still really, really good, and he's got the exact big booty that you'd expect out of a tree folk shaman.
Yes.
It's incredibly cool to finally see Colfenor on a card as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we've seen his sapling before with Sapling of Colfenor, but we've never actually gotten to see Colfenor.
And like I said at the beginning of explaining this card, I am super, super excited about this card. Mainly because it synergizes so well with Doran the Siege Tower.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Beautiful.
Definitely gonna
really
pick
wonderful
that up.
card here. I'm so happy to see it.
Yep. All right, Slash the Ranks. It's a 5-drop. A little spendy for what it does, but destroy all creatures and planeswalkers except for commanders.
Yep.
Decent.
I wish this was at 4.
Ditto.
But I like that there's an exception there for the player who wants to play this because they don't want their own commander to die, but they need some threats off the board.
Yeah.
It hurts a little bit that it doesn't destroy other people's commanders too, but the flavor text on there is really great. The generals each surveyed their devastated forces. Then slowly they turned to each other and raised their swords. They're ready for battle.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. And yeah, I absolutely agree. This should have been about a 4-drop.
But still good card. I really like it a lot.
Yeah. Now, both Zach and I read this and immediately said, oh, this is awesome.
I was literally just cackling the entire time.
And I'm assuming it's Rograkh, Son of Rohgahh. Or I don't know. Rograkh. It's a legendary creature, Cobalt Warrior, which I'm super, super upset it's not a goblin, because that looks like a goblin.
He absolutely should be a kobold.
Oh, should he?
Everything about this card is a reference to the old school kobold cards, which are 0 mana 0/1s. Prosh is also involved in kobolds because he makes Kobolds of Care Keep, which is actually a card, not even just a token.
Okay, so there's lots of lore behind this.
This is one of those kobolds.
Okay. I still wish it was a goblin, mainly because of what it does. First strike, menace, trample, and partner. Strength is relative. It's a 0/1 4/0. I mean,
0 mana.
Holy moly.
He's a 0-drop commander.
Yeah.
For the first time ever.
Yeah, can you? I have a feeling I'm gonna do a commander deck tech on this because I have a feeling there's serious jank you can do with this.
You just need to pair it with like something else that's good, and then turn 1 Colossus Hammer, and then do I don't know, Resolute Strike or like what is it, Magnetic Theft. Put it right on there.
Oh my!
And then if you're really good, you can even give it Double Strike with something like Assault Strobe and just straight kill somebody.
Oh man. Or give it infect somehow.
Oh yeah, easily. I don't think you can do that on turn 2, but like, woo!
Turn 3 maybe. While people are putting out their soul rings, you can be smacking them in the face.
Yeah, this card is hilarious.
Or you could give it something where it's destroying artifacts as it hits for damage.
Yeah. Really, really fantastic card.
Yeah.
I'm just cracking up at how good a 0-drop commander can be with just some French vanilla keywords and partner.
Yeah. So yeah. Wow. All right. Kellers Sunmane Familiar for 2, a 1/1. When a commander you control attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it. Hey, speaking of partner, you can partner with that one.
I very intentionally put Kellers right below Rograkh because the two of them pair up so well. Something I think that's really important with Rograkh specifically is that Mox Amber is god tier with him. It's just straight up a Mox at that point, for any color because he's a 0-drop and it's a 0-drop. So you could hypothetically turn 1, Rograkh, Mox Amber, play a Plains or any land really, play Kellers. Next turn you're swinging in with an 0/1 First Strike Menace Trample that also is now getting a 1/1 counter on it. Like, I think Kellers and Rograkh is a really fun little pairing. And
yeah.
I hope I get to do it in draft.
I mean, seriously, you could you could first turn hit Rograkh, second turn hit Kellers, which is a guaranteed because they're your partners, and then just go from there. Holy
it's
moly.
hilarious.
That is absolutely correct.
I love it.
All right, Toggo, Goblin Weaponsmith for 3, legendary creature, Goblin Artificer, 2/2. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a colorless artifact. Equipment token named Rock with equipped creature has 1 tap, sack Rock. This creature deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker and equip 1 and its partner. There's some serious goblin shenanigans going on with this thing.
Genuinely one of the funniest cards I've seen in a long, long time. But it's like funny in a like, this is a good card, but oh my god, this is such a goblin.
Yeah.
This card is actually also like the character has shown up on 6 cards in flavor text over the years. Essentially, Toggo is the Goblin Weaponsmith, and he creates all the cool weapons that the goblins know. There's a shock from 8th edition that says, "I love lightning. It's my best invention since the rock," says Toggo Goblin Weaponsmith. There's another one called Firefright Mage that says, after millennia of advancement in goblin military theory, Toggo the Sixth realized that almost everyone's afraid of fire. And he's got lots of other references to the fact that he invented the rock as a weapon. So it's absolutely hysterical that they actually made him a commander, made him make rocks that your creatures can chuck at people. And what's also nice is he's just on his own a proper good like artifacts kind of matter commander because he makes artifacts every time you play a land.
Yeah, I would have loved to see.
Fun card.
I would have loved to see this say deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker or player. But
yeah, if this could shock a player too, I'd love it even more.
That would be.
But even then, like I have no issues with this. This is hilarious.
Gotcha. All right. Eligeth, Crossroads, Augur, 4 blue, 5/6 flyer, Sphinx. Legendary Sphinx. If you would look at any number of cards while scrying, you draw that many cards instead. Oh, there is some blue stuff going on here.
Partner.
Oh, yeah, and it's a partner. Wow.
It's wonderful.
You could have
really funny, really cool. And I think it's super strong because there's a lot of good draw spells that also scry. There's a lot of effects that just kind of coincidentally scry. So I think this just has a lot of card draw potential.
Absolutely.
I really like this.
And it's not completely ridiculous with its mana, 6.
I'm willing to pay 6 for this.
Absolutely. Dargo the Shipwrecker, 6 and a red. It's a 7/5 legendary creature, giant pirate. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of artifacts and or creatures. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each permanent sacrifice this way, and 2 less to cast for each other artifact or creature you've sacrificed this turn. Trample and partner. Wow. So you could theoretically do this for 1 red?
Yeah. This card is, I mean, kind of honestly, my most hyped card out of today's batch, even with that Black Lotus and everything. Because this is a card that if you can sacrifice 2 to 3 things in 1 turn, and I'll clarify why 2 to 3. This card goes infinite with itself and 1 sacrifice outlet. Because Dargo, treasures work. You tap, sacrifice a treasure, add a red. Dargo now costs 2 less, and you have a red in your pool. So if you can sack 2 treasures, just 2 treasures, Dargo costs a single additional red. And then if you have a Phyrexian Altar on the board, you can cast Dargo, sacrifice Dargo to the Phyrexian Altar to generate a red, and then infinitely cast him out of your command zone as many times as you want. As long as you sacrifice them to that each time. So if you've got an Impact Tremors on the board, you've got the old Perforos on the board, anything that matters about your creatures entering the battlefield, you're probably just going to win the game on the spot. This card is wild. And really, really, really hard to stop if he gets going like that.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll have to put that in a few of our decks.
Arg.
Archon of Coronation. It's 4 white, 5/5 Archon. It's a little blurry because this is spoilers, and this is just the best card we could
It
grab.
came out of YouTube.
Yep. Flying. When Archon of Coronation enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Monarch. As long as you're the Monarch, damage doesn't cause you to lose life.
Whoa.
Huh.
So one really important caveat. This does not stop you from losing the monarchy. Because all a creature has to do is deal combat damage to you. And this doesn't prevent the dealing of combat damage. It just means you don't lose the life from taking combat damage. But this does stop things like direct burn spells, pinging, anything that says it deals damage to you. This does stop. So I think this card is still really, really good. It's just not a, like, you have to remove this or I'm always the Monarch kind of card that it looks at first glance.
Yeah. All right. Court of
Great card.
Grace. It's a
by this
4-drop enchantment. When Court of Grace enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. If you're the Monarch, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying instead. That's pretty powerful right there.
Love it. Yeah. I love this court cycle so far. They've been really, really great, and they really encourage being aggressive and keeping the monarchy.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. I like this card. All right.
Me too.
Livio Oathsworn Sentinel. It's a 2-drop 2/2 legendary creature, human knight. For 2 in white, choose another target creature. Its controller may exile it with a divinity counter on it. And for 3 tap, return.
Quick note, the translation on this is a little bit wrong. It doesn't appear to actually be a divinity counter. It appears to be like an Aegis counter or something like that.
Okay.
It won't interact with those Myojins out of Kamigawa and stuff, but it is some kind of counter.
Okay. And for 2 and a white, tap it. Return each creature card with a divinity with some kind of counter on it for exile to the battlefield under their owner's control, and it's a partner.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting stuff.
Psyched by this actually, if only because it's a mono white commander, you know, with the partner option, but it's a white commander that doesn't revolve around just aggressively combating everything. This is like a blink commander of sorts. And Livio doesn't even have to sacrifice himself to do the tap ability or anything. So like you can keep exiling stuff and so on and so forth. And another thing I really, really like about this is Livio doesn't specifically track the creatures himself. So your opponents can't just remove Livio to stop him from returning things. They just have those counters on him, and when Livio does his activated tap ability, he just brings back anything with those counters on him. So it's a really, really good value engine there. It lets you protect things. Great card.
And it's a really interesting political card too, because you could choose a creature of an opponent and do some fancy footwork by saying, if I do this politics, then you don't do that, or you do So that's
or
interesting.
Maybe somebody's targeting your commander or your any creature thing, any creature with removal. You can say, hey, why don't I just exile it now, and we'll work out a deal as to when you get it back.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Court of Ambition for 4 enchantment, another court in black. When Court of Ambition enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 3 life unless they discard a card. If you're the Monarch, instead, each opponent loses 6 life unless they discard 2 cards. Ooh, that's
Tiny Bones is over here like,
yes, sir. I would say this is one of my. I would say this is my favorite court, the black
this
one.
one is brutal. I like that it kind of uses the Torment of Hailfire type effect, but without the sacrifice a permanent thing. But great card. I really like this one.
Yep. Belbe, Corrupted Observer. It's a Golgari 2/2 legendary creature zombie elf. Oh, that's super cool. At the beginning of each player's post-combat main phase, that player adds colorless for each of your opponents who lost life this turn.
Love it. Super cool to finally see Belbe have a card. She has been a character in the lore since Nemesis.
Okay.
She was even like a main character of one of the books, so like the fact she didn't have a card until now is kind of crazy. I mean, I think this is pretty cool. I like that it affects all players instead of just you. So it kind of adds that incentive for players to like do things. But this can add, quite a bit of mana if you play around her correctly and you build your deck the right way. So I'm actually quite impressed with Belbe here.
I find it curious that they put damage causes loss of life. I'm wondering why they put that there.
That is a common little like rules reminder text because there are cards that specifically say opponents, your opponent loses 3 life. Target player loses 3 life, blah, blah, blah. And so it's important to clarify that somebody that takes damage still counts as losing life. You don't just have to play a card that specifically says somebody loses life.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So like pointing a lightning bolt at somebody's face causes them to lose 3 life, but also pointing some effect that says target opponent loses 3 life does the same thing. They both cause a loss of life and thus trigger Belbe.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
All right, next up is something in a different language.
All right, I've got this one. This is Servant of the Laboratory, or Lab Servant. I think it's Servant of the Laboratory. It is 3 and a blue for a zombie horror. At the beginning of each end step, draw a card if you've cast a spell from a graveyard this turn or activated the ability of a card in a graveyard this turn, and it is a 3/4.
Okay. Well, that wraps up today's spoilers. Yeah. Boy, there were a couple really exciting ones. I gotta say, the Tree Folk's my favorite. What's your favorite out of this group?
I think I have to go with the Giant Pirate just for that insane combo.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to Toggo and Rograkh.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeweled Lotus, of course, because that card is just bonkers.
Oh, yeah. Jeweled Lotus for sure. All right, very cool. Are we at the end of the spoilers, or we got a couple more days?
I think we have a couple more days still.
All right, cool. So thanks for tuning
we're making good progress.
Yeah, we are.
I still don't think we've seen our Mythic Rare White or our Mythic Rare Blue Commanders yet.
Very good.
So I think those are what we're waiting on.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Check out the next episodes coming. Hit the like button and hit subscribe if you're new. And, yeah, thanks for being part of the gathering. Cheerio.
Thanks for watching.